Peace, love, and light, coming on here to bring a message about knowing your worth and the effects of not knowing your worth. I've noticed that there are people that actually benefit from not knowing your worth. You ever notice that? You ever notice that? And you may not notice it in yourself. You may have noticed it in other people. There are people out there in the world who oftentimes get doors open to them. Okay. And some of us even think about this, like, why is it that certain people get doors open for them? And then certain people, it's almost like, there are people that want them to be, quiet, right? They don't want them to be shown. They don't want the world to see them. That's because the world, oftentimes, there's certain, people in the world that reinforce certain messages, and they they shut out certain messages. So the people that oftentimes know their worth, all right, the people that know their worth, the people that know who they are, spiritually, physically, and mentally, oftentimes are not, given the opportunities to be shown to the world, to be viewed to the world, because there are certain people that don't want you to see or hear the messages and hear the things that they have to say. Because the people that know their worth are not willing to sell their soul. They're not willing to do anything, to get access, to get the doors open to them. So oftentimes what you see is those that are not yet in tune with their worth, they get doors open to them. They have access, because those are often the people that can be manipulated. Those are often the people that can be swayed into, subscribing to a certain agenda. And so, yes, so the people that are trying to have a certain, image of the world, or trying to create a certain image of the world, who, by the way, we already know their time is up. Those people whose time are up, and they, those who have oftentimes been in the position of power that have the capability to open the doors for others, they oftentimes open the doors for those that do not yet know their worth, because those are the people that can be manipulated. Those are the people that can be swayed in whatever direction that they please. So if you're one of those people that have noticed that oftentimes there's a challenge in having doors open for you, know that the universe is actually working on your side, because oftentimes we might get the perception that, okay, if I'm a chosen, why is it that the doors are not opening? Why is it that this? And also keep in mind that your mindset has everything to do with the doors opening as well. But also know that there's energies, it's frequencies that it's kind of like oftentimes going against the current. And this is why oftentimes you see that people are more apt to go with the current instead of against the current, because they want to sink. They want to, they want to swim. They don't want to sink, right? And what does that mean? That means that that swimming for them means that they have to subscribe to a certain agenda that's not their own. They have to subscribe to a certain agenda that fulfills a certain status quo. And those that typically subscribe to a certain status quo, they're meant to be that way. They're meant to be that way. And those who are chosen that know their worth, they're not meant to. And so oftentimes it is one of those things where you feel like you're swimming against the currents. And it feels like you're going to sink. All right. Know that you're not going to sink. Okay. Know that you're not going to sink, because the currents are changing. The currents are changing in your favor. Okay. Because for quite some time, it seemed like you were going against the currents. You were going against the currents, because if you're someone who know your worth and you are chosen, it has felt like for quite some time that you've been going against the current, and it has felt like for quite some time that you were going to sink And you notice that you didn't sink. You were still swimming, even though you were going against the currents, which is something that is unorthodox, which is something that is not typical, which is something that we've been told that if we go against the currents, we're going to sink. But you didn't sink. You're still swimming. So know that because you know your worth, you have led a life and you have done things that are in accordance to what you know your purpose is. It hasn't always been easy. And again, it has felt like you were going against the currents and you were going to sink. You didn't sink. You're not going to sink. And especially at this time, know that the currents are changing. The currents are changing in your favor. And you're going to swim. You are swimming. You've been swimming. Even when you were going against the currents, it or felt like you were going against the currents, you were swimming, you were surviving, you were living in your divine purpose. So this is a message for those who have for quite some time felt like they were going against the currents. Know that the currents are changing in your favor, and know that just as you have swam when the currents were not in your favor, right now is a time where you are going to be not only swimming, you are going to reach your destination, you're going to reach your goal. So continue to know your value, continue to know your worth, continue to speak your truth, because speaking your truth gets you to your destination and the place that you're trying to go as well. And know that being chosen, there's no way that anyone can quiet you. They will try, or they have tried to quiet you. They will not. This is the message. If this message resonates, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Until next time, love, peace, divine light.